Can anybody define what is probability?
Chance of occurrence.
Chance of occurrence. When?
Particular condition is true. When
Chance
particular condition is given condition is true means then we will see how what is the chance of.
Yeah, a traditional definition of probability is that if you had means if you could have infinite number of you could perform infinite number of experiments of a certain type, what percentage of those experiments would turn up into a particular outcome. Okay, so that is the traditional definition of probability. Another way of thinking about probability is that what is the frequency of occurrence. Okay, this is the same thing that I just mentioned, that the frequency of occurrence of a particular event or a particular outcome in a large series of experiments. Okay, so that is one definition of probability. That is not the only definition. What is the other definition of probability that we might usually see, that you might encounter on a day-to-day basis? Any idea? Have you heard of any other kind of probability? I think the frequency of occurrence is a lower, has a lower frequency of you encountering in your daily life. You have another thing that you encounter more frequently. What is that?
Not occurring. Opposite to that, like
opposite to
occurrence, non-occurrence.
Non-occurrence. No, it's the same thing then. Any idea? Confidence. This confidence in our belief. Okay, so you might have seen the term, there is 90% chance of rain. Okay, this is also one kind of probability. Okay, 90% chance of rain. You can't have rain a million times and decide that 9 out of 10 times the rain happened. Okay, so there is no possibility of this being the frequency of occurrence. Okay, so what is this then? What does 90% of chance of rain mean?
It is
Certainty.
like it can happen or it cannot happen. So like it is.
So if I say 90% chance of rain, or I say 20% chance of rain,
Certainty.
what am I saying?
We are we are giving a more accurate. This can happen or this
It's
can
not
happen.
necessarily accurate. We are describing means assigning some mathematical quantity to our belief. Okay, so this is a measure of our belief in how much there is a chance that rain will occur. In this case, we are 80% confident that there is no chance that rain will occur. Here we are 90% confident that there will be rain. Okay, so this is another way of defining means so these are the two primary ways in which probability is encountered in our daily lives. Okay, so for the first one, let me give an example, which is the classical example, coin toss. Okay, so if you have a fair coin, okay, if you have a fair coin, what is the percentage of times, if you would do infinite number of experiments, what percentage of those would result in a head?
1 by 2.
Yeah, 50%. Okay, so probability of head occurring is going to be what? 1 by 2.
1 by 2.
Okay, so again, as many things in life, we do not have a very clear cut definition of probability, but we can, from the examples, we can get the intention what probability means. Okay, it is very difficult to define probability, just like it is very difficult to define, for example, in semiconductors, Fermi level or Fermi energy. Okay, so but once you become used to it, it becomes quite clear what probability means. That becomes second nature to us. Okay, so let us once we have this definition out of the way, let us define certain things. So if we have, so in probability, when we're talking about probability, one thing that we have to be sure of, what is my sample space? Okay, what is sample space? Any idea?
The total number of samples.
Outcomes.
The total number of possible outcomes. So this is a set of all possible outcomes. I'm getting a lot of noise from somebody. Please mute yourself unless you are speaking. So this is the set of all possible outcomes. Now, let us give an example. Let us say that we have the same example. Let us do the same example again. So heads and tails. Okay, so when you are tossing a coin, toss of a coin, what will be your sample space? Sample space is going to be a set of these two. These are the only two possibilities. You can either get a heads or a tails. Okay, now so an event. Now let us define a new term called as event. So outcome is all of these terms inside the sample space are called as outcomes. Okay, so these are, in this case, you have two outcomes possible. So now let us define an event, which is a subset of S. What is a subset? Anybody?
So the values which occur in all the possible values of sets of all the possible values in a total set.
No.
It contains
Individual.
some values
Some
of
element of that sample space.
Yeah, E contains, sorry, yeah, event E contains a few or all values of the set S. Okay, so this S is your is called as a superset, and E is the subset of that set S. Okay, so it contains a few or even zero values. Okay, so if we have a zero values, if there is, so this is phi. Okay, is that there are no elements inside your set. Okay, so this is called as the null set or an empty set. Okay, so do you think phi is a so this is the symbol for subset. Do you think phi is a subset of S?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so an empty set is a subset of any other set. Okay, so now let us define two other events. Let us call event E is defined as H. Okay, and event F. Now I'm defining two events E. Okay, so E stands for all the when head has occurred when you toss a coin, and F stands for when a tail has occurred. Okay, what do you think is going to be EF? Okay, EF stands for E intersection F. So we are going to shorten this E intersection F into EF. What does intersection stand for? So it
null
is a
set.
set of, yeah, go ahead, Sanjeev.
Null set, sir.
No, it will be null set, but what is the definition of an intersection?
A common portion, E and F.
So all the elements which are present in both E and F will be a part of the set E intersection. So this is called as intersection. Intersection F is going to be, in this particular case, it is heads and tails. So in both these sets, what is common? Nothing is common. So this will be a null set. Okay. So we define. So I will go now at this. Now what will be E union F?
EMF.
One.
It will be the set. Union stands for
R.
Common. Total All the
Total,
Common,
total.
not common.
values.
The means
all
any
the values.
element which is present in either E or F or both. Okay. So in this case, it is going to be H, comma T. Okay. Which in this case, this becomes equal to your sample space S. Okay. Now we have one more definition, which is E complement. Okay, complement. So complement of E. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, H and T, matlab, it is a sample space H comma T, na? So can we write it together at it as 1?
What is one?
Matlab H and T, matlab H and T must be the probabilities, like.
In this
So,
case, we are not even reached probabilities now. We are now right now defining sample space and events. We are not talking about probabilities here.
okay, sir.
Okay. So what is complement of E? So everything that is present in S, okay, but not present in C. So this is not usually used, but I'm just telling you. So everything that is present in E has been removed from S. So in this particular case, in this particular example, what will be E complement?
T.
So you'll remove all the elements of E from S. S is your total sample space. You're subtracting, removing all the elements of E from the sample space. So what will E complement be?
T.
Huh?
T.
T.
So tail.
Okay,
F.
that is your T complement. Now, let us. So now let us try to do the same things in terms of Venn diagrams. Okay, so let us look at the different Venn diagrams. So Venn diagram is a graphical representation of these sets. So if you have two sets, now I'm not using the previous case. In the previous case, if I were to draw two sets, how will they look like? If I were to draw E, so this is E and F. If I were to draw F, how will it look like? Will it overlap E or no?
No.
No, sir.
It will not overlap E. Okay, why? Because E intersection F is equal to, in the previous
Zero.
case, it's a null set. So these are called as disjoint sets. Okay, E and F are disjoint. So this is your overall sample space S, and E and F are two sets in that which do not have anything in common. So if I were to say that E is a subset of F, how will I draw that? So this is your sample space. If this is F, and I'm saying E is a subset of F, what do I mean by that?
F will be inside S. Matlab,
F is already inside S.
matlab, E will be inside F.
Yeah, good. If I'm drawing something like this, this means that E is a subset of F. Okay. Or we can also say that F is a superset of E. Okay. Now, if I were to, let us say we have two sets E and F. Okay. You have two sets E and F, which have some part in common with each other. Okay. Now, if I were to draw E union F, what will it look like? If I were to shade, I'm shading the region which will represent this particular set, E union F.
The intersection.
Huh?
Intersection of E and F.
Intersection of E and F, what do you mean?
The union. Just the union will be total.
E plus F minus E intersection F.
No,
The total.
this whole thing.
Whole
Yes,
thing.
E union F. Okay. So this is S, this is E union F. Now, if I were to draw the Venn diagram corresponding to E intersection F, what will it look like? It is the common region. Okay. Now, let us say I want to shade, this is my sample space, and this is E. Okay. And I want to shade the region corresponding to E complement. What will that be?
For the reason except
Outside.
Outside E. Okay, so this is your E complement. Okay. So now let us write down a couple of rules of events. Okay, so these are the rules that these of events or sets. Okay. So number one is the commutative law. What is the commutative law? That whether you take union of either, means you put either E first or F first, it does not matter. Union is going to be the same. Okay. And if we were to talk about intersection, E intersection F, I'm not going to use intersection sign now. The book also uses the same symbols. So it does not use any sign in between E and F. So EF is equal to FE. Okay. Then this implies an intersection. So that is commutative law. And then we have associative law. You might have seen all these in your normal algebra, which is E union. So when you're taking a union of three, it is going to be either you can take the first two union of the first two sets first, or you can take the second two first. It does not really matter. G or EF G is equal to E F G. Okay. Here we have three sets, E, F, and G. And finally, the third is distributive law. This is your homework exercise. Please prove these using Venn diagrams. Okay. So you'll draw the Venn diagram for the left hand side and the Venn diagram for the right hand side and see whether they are equal or not, whether you're getting the same Venn diagrams or not. So this is called as Venn diagrams. If I did not, I think I mentioned it, but in any case, VENN diagram. Okay, so using Venn diagrams, you can prove these. So E union F G is equal to EG union FG, and E F union G. I think all of them are pretty self-explanatory except the last one. I'm pretty sure that you might be a little. This is E union G into F union G. Okay. Okay. Except the last one, I think everything might be quite clear. So this you can prove again using. Let us do the last one. Okay. Let us look at the last one. So we have. This is my sample space. And I'm looking at the left hand side right now. Okay. The left hand side is E, F, and G. Let us say we have 3 F and G. Okay. So EF union G. Which part is EF? Which of this whole thing is EF? Let me use the red to denote. I have shaded EF. Is that all right? Does that seem fine?
Yes, sir.
So this red is red, or let me say, so this is EF. Okay, I have written, and I'll use light blue to denote G. So G, obviously, because we are taking the union. Where am I? Yeah, where I'm taking the union of G. Okay, so I have to take the whole G. So this is G. So what will be the union of these two? What will be the union?
All the G.
Whole G and that.
The red part which is not part of blue plus
Yes, sir.
this blue part. Okay, so this is the left hand side. Now let us see what the right hand side looks like. Let us look at the right hand side. So you have where am I? E F G. Okay. Again, the red I'm using for E union G. Okay. So what is E union G? So this is E union G. And I'll use blue again for F union G. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So now, which of this, so this is blue is F union G. Which of this whole thing is in, so we want to do intersection of these two. So this is the intersection of these two. If I do intersection of these two, which portion remains shaded? Okay, which of this will be shaded now? This is part of both. I'm shading this in dark green. Okay, this is part of both. What about this? This is also part of both. This is part of both. This is part of both. And this. So do you think the left hand side and the right hand side are the same?
Yes, sir.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we have proven that right hand side is equal to the left hand side. Now let us move on to our classical definition, another classical definition which we usually use, which is the De Morgan's law. Okay, you might have studied this everywhere, almost everywhere, which is that. So we are defining a new sort of symbol. So I is equal to 1 to n union EI. What does this mean? What does this mean?
Sum of all
This
the
particular symbol. This means E1 union E2 union EN. Okay, so this symbol stands for that. Okay, similarly, you could define intersection as well. Okay, so let me, where is this now? So the complement of this is equal to intersection I is equal to 1 to n. So I'm taking intersection of all these values, EI to complement. Okay. So if I take a complement of union of all the sets, I get an intersection of the complements. Okay. So I'm taking complement of the union. So I'll get intersection of the complements. So now let us try to prove this. How will you prove this? So let us look at the left hand side. Okay, what is the left hand side? Let us start with this. So when I say I is equal to 1 to n EI, okay, complement. So if I take an element X, let us say I take an element X from this particular set. Okay. What does that mean? If I have X which is present in this set, what does this mean? That X, if X, let us say X belongs to, this stands for belongs to. So if X belongs to this particular set, what does this imply? That X does not belong to any of EIs. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So when I say union of EI, I mean all the possible values which are present in any of the EIs. Okay. So if I take a complement of that, if an X belongs to this particular set, this implies that X does not belong to any of the EIs. Is that okay? Okay. It does not belong to E1. If X belongs to E1, it would not be a part of this. X does not belong to E2. If X were a part of E2, then it would not belong to this. So that means X does not belong to any of the EIs. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So that means X will be a part of, so this implies that X is a part of all EI complements. Since X does not belong to any of the EIs, it will be a part of all EI complements. Is it true or not?
Yes, sir. It's true.
Okay, so we can prove that for every element that is present in this set, it will be a part of this. Okay, if X is a part of all EIs, that means it will be a part of this intersection. Okay. Okay. Now, similarly, there is another corresponding De Morgan's law, which is I is equal to 1 to n intersection EI complement is equal to union I is equal to 1 to n EI complement. ठीक है. Can you prove this using the first one? So you have two De Morgan's law. This is your first law. This is your second law. Can you prove the second one using the first one? Is it possible?
Yes. it is possible.
Do it. Tell me what I should do. Anybody? अरे भाई कोई तो बोलो.
So if X will be a part of EI intersection of EI, then it will not be a part of its complement. Similarly, if it is not a part of complement of अगर उसका intersection का part नहीं होगा तो union का part.
So if I replace EI by EIC in this first equation. Okay, I start from the first equation and I replace EI by EIC. What will I get? I've started with the first equation and I
EI.
replace EI by EIC.
तो EI में EI.
EI.
Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Now what do I get on this side? EI complement is what?
EI.
So EI.
Okay, so EI complement is going to be EI. Let me erase this. ठीक है? Is it okay?
Yes.
This is the right hand side right now. Now क्या करेंगे हम? अब तुम बताओ अब क्या करना चाहिए हमें? We want to reach here. We want to prove this. We
So
have
EI को 1 minus EIC लिख सकते हैं.
फिर क्या होगा? 1 minus EIC नहीं लिख सकते because this is not probabilities right now. We're talking about sets
Okay.
here.
Okay.
So if you take complement on both sides,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
if you take complement on both sides, complement does what?
Cancel out each other.
Cancel each other out. Okay, so this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. So what do you get?
We will
The
read.
intersection का complement तो union हो जाएगा ना?
So this goes back So this is now exactly same है ना, ये जो हमने ऊपर लिखा हुआ है, है या नहीं है? बस लेफ्ट और राइट इधर उधर हो गए.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, the left has moved to the right hand side and the right has moved to the left hand side. What do you mean? What were you asking, Sanjeev?
Sir, I was saying like intersection का sir complement मतलब union होता है.
So
तो मतलब यहाँ पे सिंबल चेंज हो सकता है क्या? मतलब इंटरसेक्शन E of I है तो ये
वही तो
शायद
prove. That is what we are trying to prove. No, how can we use that to prove this?
Union.
We are trying to prove this, that the complement of all the intersection becomes a union of the
It's
complement.
union of complement.
So how can we do that? What you were just saying. I have proven this. Okay, so I only know that complement of unions is equal to the, sorry, yeah, complement of the unions is equal to the intersection of complements.
Okay.
Okay, I only know this much. I don't know this. I want to prove this using the first identity. So I can't use this to prove this. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Although we do a sort of that in induction, but we are not doing that here. Okay. We already talked about the definition of probability. Okay, a little bit about a qualitative definition, but let me define the axioms of probability. Okay, does anybody know the meaning of the word axiom?
No, sir.
Axiom is sort of given. You can't prove it. Okay, in one sense. Okay, so it is the basis of your theory, which is irreducible. Okay, you can't prove it. You have to assume it and then you build your theory upon it. So these are the axioms of probability. Number one, the probability of any event E is less than or equal to 1 and greater than or equal to 0. It's always a non-negative quantity and always smaller than 1. Okay. And the second axiom is that the probability of your sample space, okay, for so what does this mean? This is the total. S stands for all the possible outcomes. Okay, so probability of getting an outcome in the set of all possible outcomes is going to be what? क्या होना चाहिए?
1.
1. Okay, and the third axiom is that for mutually exclusive events, probability of the union of I is equal to 1 to infinity. Okay, assuming that we have infinite events, okay, and all those events are mutually exclusive of each other, EI, the union of all those is equal to
1.
the probability of I is equal to 1 to infinity
Infinity.
sigma event EI.
3.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if you are taking a union of all the events, if they are mutually exclusive, then it becomes the sum of the probability of each individual event. Okay, you can also, usually we do not have infinite events. In many cases, we do not have this situation. So this can be for a finite number of events. We can say that probability of union of I is equal to 1 to n EI is equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n probability of EI. Okay. Now, based on these, we can come up with a few propositions, okay, which are, let me start a new page of propositions. Okay, so number one, probability of E complement is equal to 1 minus probability of E. Can you prove this? Anybody?
So by the help of Venn diagram.
coin toss वाले से पूछो।
So by the help of Venn diagram, you can do that probably. Yeah. Any other options?
coin का toss वाले question।
Or maybe this. Is this equal to this? Is S equal to E union E complement?
Yes sir,
Yes.
That is the
Yes,
definition of E complement. Okay.
yes sir,
And we also know that E intersection E complement is equal to
0
not zero, null set.
null set।
Okay. So can we not apply axiom 3 just that I just mentioned? What was axiom 3?
Mutually exclusive
Mutually
event.
So that
exclusive.
events are so this implies that events are mutually exclusive. If events
Yes,
are
sir.
mutually exclusive, you can use the sum of probabilities to define the probability. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so we already know that probability of S is equal to probability of E plus probability of E complement.
EC
So probability of E complement is equal to probability of S minus
minus
probability of
probability
E.
of E,
What is the probability of S? Which is 1.
1।
Okay.
Yes sir,
So that is proposition 1. Now proposition 2 is that if E is a subset of F, what can you say about the probabilities? Is there a dichotomous relationship between E and F?
what is dichotomous?
मुझे भी नहीं पता, मैं शायद गलत बोल रहा हूँ। Less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, what are you going to say?
Less than or equal to if E is subset of F.
So this implies that PE is less than or equal to PF. Okay. How do I prove this? How do I prove this? So you can take F as F E union E complement F. Is that all right?
Yes sir,
This is, please remember, this is intersection. Okay. So E complement intersection F. So is this okay or no? So if this were your Venn diagram, E is a subset of F. What is E complement F?
E complement of so outer circle।
Yeah, the ring. This is E complement F.
Yes,
So this is F and this is E. Okay, so this is E complement F and union with E is going to give you what? What will it give you? If I take E complement F and take a union with E, what am I going to get?
Yeah.
inside
F,
inside
the
yes,
whole
sir.
thing.
The whole F।
We'll get F, no?
Yes sir,
So this is correct. Okay, this assumption is correct.
yes sir,
So now we take probabilities on both sides. So probability of F is equal to probability of E union E complement F. And by looking at this Venn diagram, we already know that these two are what? E and E complement F are question mark. What?
mutually
Mutually exclusive. So we can apply axiom 3. Okay. So we have this is probability. So P, I made a mistake here. So this will be probability. So P E plus P
EC
complement
F.
F. Okay. And we already know from the first axiom of probability is that probability always lies between 0
0 to 1
and 1. So this is
1.
going to be greater than or equal to 0.
Yes.
So I can say that PE will always be smaller than or equal to F. Okay, so this implies that PF is greater than or equal to E. Is that all right?
Yes sir, Yes.
Now let us move on to our third proposition. Third proposition is P E union F is equal to P plus PF minus P. ठीक है? Okay. So I'll give you a couple of minutes, but I'll give you the hint for the proof. Start with E union F is equal to E union E complement F. So what have we created here? So if you look at your Venn diagram, okay, this is general Venn diagram. We have E and you have F. What is E complement F? What is going to be E complement F?
Circle which is not outside.
All the
only
part of
F.
F
Only
outside
F.
E.
Yes. Sir.
Okay, so this is going to be E complement F. Okay,
Mm.
and what is E? E is going to be the remaining. Let me use a different direction. Okay, this is the direction I'm using for shading E. Okay, so this is E and this is E complement F. What can you say about their mutual exclusivity? Are they mutually exclusive or not?
No.
Yeah, we are talking about this and this, not E and F.
They are mutually.
Sanjeev, why do you say they are not mutually exclusive?
Sir, there is some intersection na
Of what?
E and F.
But उनका
What
नहीं है ना.
about E complement F?
E
I'm
complement.
talking about E and E complement F. These two which are shaded in
E
different time.
and E complement F. Yes, I'm mutually
Okay. So what can you say about the probabilities? Now I'll give you a couple of minutes to please solve this. Okay, and come up with this. I'll give you one more hint, which is F is equal to EF union E complement F. Are these two mutually exclusive? EF and E complement F? EF is E intersection F and
Yes, sir.
E complement intersection F. So both of them are also mutually exclusive. So you can use these
Yes,
two
sir.
to prove that. I'll give you 1 minute.
तो हो गया.
Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it will be PE union F will be PE plus
Mhm.
plus E complement F. Okay. And we know from here that this should be PF is equal to
Equal to PEF
PEF plus
plus.
complement F. So we can replace this P complement F over here, and we're going to get PE plus PF minus P Now let us talk about some specific kinds of sample spaces. Okay. So today we are going to talk only about one kind of sample space, which is a sample space with equally likely outcomes. Okay. So an example of this would be a fair die. Okay, if you have a fair die, die is a singular for DIC. Okay, so if you have a fair die, how many sides does a die have?
6.
6. Okay, you have six sides. It's a cube. Okay, assuming that you have a fair die. What do I mean by fair die? Once you roll
1 by
it, any of the 6 faces has equally likely possibility of appearing on the top. Okay, so that is an example of a sample space with equally likely outcome. Okay, so what will be the sample space in this case? Assuming that you have one die.
All the six outcomes.
1,
All the 6
2,
outcomes.
3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and we know that the probability of the overall sample space is equal to what?
1 by 6.
1.
Yes.
Okay, so probability of any of these events. Okay, if I'm talking about any event I, what is the probability of that going to be?
1 by
1
6.
by 6.
It is going to be 1 by whatever is your samples size.
6.
Okay, so sample size in this case is going to be 6. Okay, so now if I were to talk about, let us say, probability of getting 1 and 2, what is this going to be? Huh?
1 by 2. 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6.
So it is going to be 2 by 6.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in this particular case, when your sample space has equally likely outcomes, then the probability of event E becomes equal to the size of your event, okay, the total number of elements in event E divided by the total number of elements in your sample space.
Samples.
Okay, so this is the total number of elements, or this is also called as a cardinality. Okay, if you know anything about set theory, then this is called as cardinality. What is cardinality? Cardinality is the number of elements in your set. Okay, that is the cardinality. So if I were to ask, so what about probability of 2 and 3? What is that going to be? That is also going to be 2 by
2 by 6.
Okay, it is going to be exactly the same, because all of the events, all of the outcomes are equally likely. Not events, all of the outcomes are equally likely. So it only depends on the size of your event. Okay, it has nothing to do with what specific event is, specific outcomes are present in that particular event. So it only depends on the size of your event. Okay, now if I were to ask you, what is the probability of odd number? What is that going to be? You'll count. So you'll
The
simply
3
count the
by
total
6.
number of elements in this particular event. Okay, so this is your event E now. Okay, so what is the if you were to write down the set corresponding to event E, what will that be?
1, 3, 5.
3, 5. Okay, so what will the probability will be? The
3
total
by 6.
cardinality of
3
E.
by 6.
Cardinality of E is 3, and the cardinality of your sample space is 6. So the probability is going to be 1 by 2. Okay, what about even numbers?
Same.
So there are 2 ways of doing it. Either you can define your new
1
event F, or you could do
1 minus.
minus E. Okay. So let me erase this. Okay. Now event F. What is F? F is equal to
2, 4, 6.
complement, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's say F is even numbers. Okay. If F is even numbers, then F is E complement. Then it is going to be PF is equal to 1 minus PE. Okay. So that is another way of doing the same thing. Let us try doing a few examples. Okay. Before we move on to that, let us talk about something a little bit different from this, which will be very useful in doing any specific examples, which is counting. Okay, we just looked at the sample space with equally likely outcomes. What is this? What does this boil down to? Finding probabilities in such a sample space boils down to what?
Counting the number of
Counting the numbers. Okay, so if we have a systematic way of counting our outcomes, then it makes our life much easier. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. Now, let us say that you want to create a 4-digit number. Okay, you want to create a 4-digit number, and you want to find a systematic way of counting how many possible 4-digit numbers I can have. Okay, I'm not giving any special credence to zeros and all those things. So zero also can be can occupy any position. Okay, in this particular case, I'm assuming that zero can occupy any position. So I'm not, zero is nothing special. Okay, so how many ways can I fill this first? And I'm assuming, there is one thing I'm assuming, is that no numbers should repeat. No digit should repeat. Instead of numbers, let me use the specific word, digit. Okay, other than that, there is no limitation. Okay, so how many ways can I fill this first block?
10 ways.
10 ways.
10 ways.
Okay, correspondingly, how many ways can I fill this second block?
10 ways.
Huh?
9,
Nine, because one has already been used. I cannot repeat that.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have, let us say you have used up the digit 2, and then you have only 1,
9
0, 1, 3, and
3,
so on remaining.
5.
So only 9 are remaining. Okay, now what about this?
8,
8 ways. Okay, what about this?
7,
7 ways. Okay, so this is how many. So now you have how many combinations can you make?
Six, 4, 8, 0.
Huh?
5040.
5040
Yes, sir.
5040.
and 90. 4, 5,
45, 50.
5040. Okay, so you have 50-40 ways of doing this. Okay, so if you look at this in terms of factorials, what is that?
10 to 7.
Huh?
Factorial 7.
10 factorial minus 6
Factorial.
factorial.
10 factorial. So factorial is n factorial is equal to n multiplied by n minus 1 up till
1.
1. Okay, so 10 factorial divided by 6
Factorial.
So
factorial.
divided by, okay.
Divided by 6 factorial. Is that all
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So now, or another way of writing the same thing is 10 factorial divided by 10 minus
4 factorial.
factorial. Okay, so this is also called as 10p4. Okay, this stands for permutation. Okay, so you have 10 items given to you. How many ways can you choose 4 items, assuming that each of those items has its own specific order? Every order is being considered. Okay, now let us look at something else, which is if I were to not give, if instead of uh, this order would not make any difference to me. Okay. I just want to say that I have 10. So now let me look at a different scenario. Let us say I have 10 committee members. Okay. Okay. 10 eligible committee members. Okay. Let us say a department has 10 eligible committee members and I want to make a committee of 4 people. Okay. I want to make a committee of four people. Okay. So how many ways can I do that?
I can tense for combination.
But how do I get there from here? The only thing is that now it does not matter that which committee member comes here or which comes here or here or here, as long as this we have, so we have, let us say we have now chosen 4 committee members, 4 specific committee members have been chosen, but the counting that we did here, every order was being given a special preference, means it was given a special meaning, but in reality that has no meaning. Okay, so the first, let me call those committee members as A, B, C and D. It does not matter whether A comes here, B, C, D, or B, A, C, D, or anything like that. Okay, your committee members, whoever, this order really does not make a difference. But in this particular method that we just did, we were counting this BACD was different from ABCD, but in reality, in this particular problem, BACD and ABCD are exactly the same, isn't it? So I want to get rid of all these combinations that I created by doing something. Okay, how many possible ways can I arrange these 4 numbers? Okay, if I have 4 terms A, B, C, D, how many possible ways can I arrange these in a series, a sequence of 4 numbers, 4 letters?
Factorial 4.
The first one can have how many ways? 4.
4.
Okay, how many about the second one? 3,
3.
2 and 1.
One.
So you have 4 factorial. Okay, so the answer for this particular case is going to be 10 factorial divided by 10 minus 4 factorial
into 4 factorial.
by 4 factorial. Okay, so this is going to give me all the possible ways in which I can choose 4 members out of a committee of 10 members. Okay, here order does not matter, the sequence does not matter at all. Okay, so this particular term is also denoted by another symbol, which is 10C4. Okay, we can also call this as combinations. Okay, also called as choose. Okay, out of 10 you are choosing 4. Okay, how many ways can I choose 4 out of 10? Okay, the order does not matter. So, and this is in mathematics, people also use this symbol to represent 10C4. Okay, so this is 10 choose 4. Okay, 10 choose 4 is, or more precisely, n CR or n choose R is equal to n factorial divided by r factorial n minus r factorial. Okay. So now let us say, if I have a set of, in this particular set itself, I have a set of, let us say, six numbers. Okay, how many combinations can I make out of this? How many possible combinations can you make? How many sets can you make with any number of terms?
66, then 64.
So one way of doing this would be, we'll choose 6 out of 6. Okay, 66 plus 6C5 plus 6C4 plus 6C3 plus 6C2 plus 6C1 plus 6C0. Okay, null set is also going to be a part of this. Okay, so that is one way of doing this. You can do the whole calculation, and let us do that. Okay, what is this? What does this come out to be? 6C6 is 6 factorial divided by 6 factorial into 0 factorial. Okay, we define 0 factorial as
1.
1. Okay, that is the definition of 0 factorial. You can go into some mathematics course to find out what that exactly means. But 65 is 6 factorial divided by 5 factorial, 1 factorial, plus 6 factorial divided by 4 factorial, 2 factorial, plus 6 factorial divided by 3 factorial, 3 factorial, plus 6 factorial divided by 4 factorial, 2 factorial, plus 6 factorial divided by 1 factorial, 5 factorial. Let me change this. Use the same notation, 2 and 4. And finally, 6 factorial divided by 0 factorial, 6 factorial. Okay. What is 6 factorial? This is gone. We get 1 plus 6 by
6.
5 factorial. So you will get 6 plus 6
12. 6, 30.
15.
into 5.
15.
30 divided by 2 is 15. Okay, so this is 6 into 5 into 4 divided by 6, 20. 20 plus this is
15.
huh?
15.
Oh, we already did that. 15 plus 6
6
plus
plus
1.
1.
Okay, so 15 plus 15 is 30 plus 20,
50.
64.
64. Okay, so that is one way of doing it. Another easier way of doing this would have been to look at this set directly. Okay, if you look at this set. Okay, now what about this number? This number can either be present in the new set or not. Okay, so one can be either present in the new set or not. So there are two possibilities for one. Okay, is that all right?
Yes, sir.
What about 2? There are two possibilities for 2 as well. Either it can be a part of the set or it could not be a part of set. Okay, so there are two possibilities for 2. There are two possibilities for 3 as well. It can be a part of the set or not be a part of the set. So similarly for 4, similarly for 5, similarly for 6. So you have 2 to the power 6, which is
64.
okay. You could possibly have 64 sets. Okay. So now let us look at another concept which is called as partitioning. Let us say you have a deck of how many cards? How many cards are there in regular?
52.
52 cards. Okay, you have a deck of 52 cards and you want to divide this into 4 groups. Okay, you want to divide this into 4 groups. Now those 4 groups are 13 each. You have 4 players and I want to divide these cards into four players, 13 each. The order of the card that a person gets does not matter. Okay, it does not matter which order the person gets those cards in, because finally those cards are available to him. He can play any card at any time. So what does the order matter, whether he gets an ace first or a queen first? It does not really matter as long as he has all the cards. Okay, so the order does not matter. So how many ways can I give cards to the first person? Let us start from the first person. How many ways can I do that?
13 by 52.
13 cards to the first person.
13 by 52.
No. 52 C13.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are 52 C13 ways to give a card to the person 1. Okay. Now 13 cards are already gone. So how many ways are remaining in which I can distribute the remaining cards? to this person?
39.
39.
13.
39, C,
13.
13. What about this guy?
26.
26, C, 13. What
13.
about this guy?
13.
13
C
C
13.
13, C, 13. Okay. So you have, so the total number of ways is going to be multiplication of all these. Okay. So we have 52 factorial divided by 39 factorial, 13 factorial, multiplied by 39 factorial, 26 factorial, 13 factorial, multiplied by 26 factorial,
13.
13 factorial, 13 factorial, multiplied by 13 factorial, 13 factorial,
0.
0 factorial. Okay, so this is gone. Now you have 26 factorial is gone, 39 factorial is gone. So you get 52 factorial divided by
3 factorial.
13 factorial, 13 factorial, 13 factorial. Okay. So you could do this kind of partitioning for anything. Okay, you'll get a similar answer. You could make a, let us say you have n possible outcomes. Okay, and you're partitioning that into let us say L, M, P, and R. Okay, 4 partitions you're making of L, M, P, R. What will this look like? What will those partitions look like?
Achha.
And C.
Huh? NCL,
Yes, sir.
okay, into
N minus
M.
L.
instead of writing
N minus L.
writing NC, let me directly write down those values. So n factorial divided by n minus L factorial into L factorial, multiplied by
N minus L.
n minus L factorial divided by
N minus L minus N.
n minus
L
L
minus
minus M factorial into
M.
n factorial. Okay. Now n minus L minus M factorial divided by
N
n
minus
minus L minus M minus
Minus
E.
P.
E factorial into
P
factorial into n minus L minus M minus P factorial divided by,
M minus.
we already know that L plus M plus P plus R is equal to n. So n minus L minus P minus R is going to be what? 0. 0 factorial into what?
R factorial.
R factorial.
R factorial.
Okay, so this is gone, 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 and this is gone. So you'll get a similar answer like we had here. N factorial divided by n factorial, sorry, L factorial, P factorial, sorry, L factorial, P factorial, L factorial, M factorial, P factorial, and R factorial. Okay. This is how you partition in these many ways. Okay. What is the time? 12:18. Okay, we'll stop now. What time do you want to meet for matrix class?
Your wish.